First of all, let me just start out by saying welcome everyone. This is Alan Gappinger. I'm with the Heartland Institute of Financial Education. I think that's why you're all on here. First of all, you can be on this webinar and you don't have to be a member yet of the Heartland Institute because you can learn about it. But ultimately, what you'll have to do to be part of this organization is you will have to get your designation. It's the CFED designation, the Certified Financial Educator designation. That'll be important because that's going to be what's required. The situation we have is we have a relationship with WealthWave, and that relationship that was established a year ago was to provide financial education curriculum to you guys to teach classes in companies, in school systems, in hospitals, any place across the country where you can find people. We do it in two ways. One is we can help get you into companies, and secondly, we're going to teach you how to get into your own companies. What's happened since we started this whole process together is something called coronavirus, and that's impacted us dramatically. You know, we had 4 companies, national companies, ready to go that we were getting ready to disperse to you guys, and of course, all 4 of them have had to shut down as far as being able to offer financial education to their employees. None of them are having many active employees on site right now. So it's changed things for us. At the same time, one thing we know that people are not going to not need financial education. People are still going to need help with their financial issues, maybe more than ever. I mean, let's look at statistics and look at what's happening in this country. It's unbelievable. And so as companies open up, slowly but surely, they're going to need us more and more. So we're going to talk about that today. Now, with the chat line open, or excuse me, with the written chat line, write your questions to me as we go along. I'll try to answer those as I go. So if you have a question for me, please write it down. I'll see it, and I'll try to answer that for you as we move through this process. First of all, let's just review real quickly who the Heartland is so that I make sure you guys are with me and we're talking the same page here. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. And as a 501c3 nonprofit, we have the ability to provide financial education classes to employees all over the country. And they don't have to be employees. They can be any group of people that belong to any particular entity. So it doesn't matter. We actually certify financial professionals, that's you guys, to be certified financial educators and to join what we call our registry, okay? Now, you need to know we're chartered, we're reputable, and we have attained the gold standard, which is the 501c3. It's the highest standard you can achieve as a nonprofit. We have a consortium. We have universities and colleges all across the country that endorse us. If any of you want to get on our website, if you haven't been on it, get on HIFE, that's Heartland Institute of Financial Education USA.org, and look us up. And you're going to find that we have listed universities and colleges all across the country that endorse us. And people ask, why don't you have more? Oh my gosh, we have so many companies that could be joining us, and so many, colleges and universities that could. It's almost overwhelming. Believe me, we have enough. We are recognized, our designation, the Certified Financial Educator. It comes out in 2 ways. It's the CFE little d, or the CFE Certified Financial Educator. It is the only designation that's registered in 2 ways, and it is recognized by FINRA. And then we do have an exclusive registry that includes you guys and a few others across the country we allow to be our elite instructors and teach financial education for us. Now you talk about why do we need financial education, and again, just a quick commercial for everybody. The Government Accounting Office of the federal government has come up with a definition for financial literacy that they say most companies are not coming close to fulfilling. Most companies are not providing their employees with financial education, and the federal government says they should be. Their definition is the ability to understand financial choices, plan for the future, spend wisely, manage the challenges that come with life events such as job loss, saving for retirement, or a child's education. The biggest excuse that companies give for not offering financial education is that their 401k provider does it for them. No, they don't. They don't even come close to doing all those things. because supposedly the ERISA Act, which is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, supposedly when they're properly informed, educated, and given reasonable choices, plan participants who really are employees will make good decisions. We know that they're not getting enough help. So today what I want to talk about is a couple things. I want to talk about getting into companies, and I want to talk about the fact that coronavirus is knocking us out right now, but we're not done. We're not finished with this whole thing. We're going to make it, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about the cost to do this. I'm going to talk to you about the process. I'm going to make sure that everybody understands it. But I also want you to know we're going to have ongoing webinars now the first Wednesday of every month. The first Wednesday of every month at 11 o'clock Mountain Time, we're going to be having another webinar. We're also going to have additional training webinars in between and around that, depending on who you are and what we need to do. But I need to encourage your participation and work with me, because what I've done with Tom Matthews and WealthWave is created a relationship where I want to build classes that we're going to use inside companies. An example would be How Money Works. That is a book that we can literally build a class or two around. And so I'm going to be looking for help from you guys that want to get involved in this, okay? And so just so you know that. Let's see. I have a comment here. It just says, I was all set to start the CFED designation, join the registry, but the pandemic hit. It just didn't seem to be prudent to make the investment required. Can I give additional details on how the investment will be very profitable? I would tell you that first and foremost, what's going to be very important for you guys to realize is that businesses are going to come back, and we are going to be able to get back into those eventually. Matter of fact, there's some businesses that are coming back together right now. And so we're in a situation where I'm going to tell you that one of the best things to do is what I'm going to explain to you today, which is going to be how to get into companies, how to get started. And we've got some homework to do first to make sure we're ready. So let me go through that with you, and then we'll talk through the opportunities as we see this going. And I will talk about fees. I'll be talking about what we give to students and those kinds of things as we go. Also, as I talk through this, keep in mind that some of you may want to reach out to me personally. So I'll give you my email. It's AGAP, A-G-A-P-P. I should have written this down for you. AGAP at H-I-F-E. That's the Heartland Institute of Financial Education initials -USA.org. So it's AGAP, A-G-A-P-P at HIFE-USA.org. And what I'll do is tomorrow you're going to get a copy of this presentation sent to you. It'll be a little bit more advanced copy with a little more slides on it than I have today. And I'll have them include my email on that so you have it as well. So let's just talk through this a little bit. And I think I'll answer a lot of your questions as we go. There are certain things that you guys need to know. There is a facilitator manual that you all should have received or you will receive once you get your designation and join the registry. And that facilitator manual is going to give you all the information you need to understand the ERISA Act and the Dodd-Frank Act. But you guys need to know there were two specific acts. One, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, and the other one, the Dodd-Frank Act in 2010, that not only encourages employers to offer financial education, but it suggests that you use a 501c3 nonprofit to do it. The Government Accounting Office also has recently, a while back, set up a working group, which is now making recommendations to the Department of Labor through the Secretary as to what employers should be doing. Now, this all got put on hold because of the coronavirus, but guess what? It's going to come back, and when it comes back, it's going to be bigger than ever because people are in such trouble right now, okay? So just keep that in mind. And what's going to happen is this Government Accounting Office and the working group, they're going to start focusing on employers because we're going to have more and more lawsuits by employees against employers for not offering financial education to them, especially when they get to the end of their time to retire and they find out they're not prepared. I have a question here. As a registered rep for Transamerica, am I considered outside business activity? Yes, we are an outside business activity. We are approved through your company, through Transamerica. but we are an outside business activity, okay? And of course, if you haven't completed your course and you got started on it because of the pandemic, let us know that that's held you down or caused you a problem. We'll consider extending your time to take that, okay? So we don't want to cause a problem for anybody that because of that. All right, so just to keep rolling along, what do we provide for companies? Well, we're kind of unique because we provide on-site certified instructors. That's you guys. We provide professional financial courses. I'm going to talk about those. We also have, and you may not know this, you guys may not know, we have an on-demand 24/7 financial wellness suite that covers all the subjects that you guys don't want to teach. So I don't care what subject that employer wants, we have it. And we can do that with a webinar. We can do it on demand. And still, anybody that has a question will be directed to you as an instructor. So let's just understand this for a second. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get you guys into companies to teach financial education for the employees. And you can do it in any number of ways. You can do it live when we're allowed to go back in and teach classes. You can do webinars. I've been averaging right now 2 webinars a week to companies that I'm teaching for, that I was teaching for live before. And guess what? Now we can't do it live because everybody is a stay-at-home, but I'm doing webinars and I'm still getting people requesting meetings. Even though they're virtual meetings, we're still doing business, we're still signing contracts. So it's been kind of cool. So keep in mind, it's still there, okay? Just moving ahead, it's because of the way we do this, whether the employees go through webinar training that you offer or whether they're training live, they're still going to want that one-on-one with you because they're going to want your help. They're going to want your guidance when it comes to financial wellness more than ever before. So once you join us and you get the CFED, you join our registry. Most of you know about this. It certifies you as an elite instructor. It teaches you how to get into companies, provides companies for you if possible. And of course, that's changed a lot only because of the circumstances, but still it'll come back. It endorses also how money works. So how do you get into companies? All right, let's talk this through. And again, ask your questions of me as I go along. Here's what we're doing. There's really 2 ways for us to get you into companies. For you to go into the company as a financial educator, to be recognized by the HR professional, by the company, and to work through a national nonprofit. That's us. The first one is you contact and get into a company yourself. We're going to provide the training on how to do this. The second one is we provide a company for you because we have existing relationships and we develop new ones all the time. Just keep in mind, we're being impacted just like you are. I don't know how your business has been, but I mentioned at the very outset that we had 4 companies ready to go, national companies, and all 4 of them right now are on hold. So what we're doing right now is working hard to build the process for getting more companies and moving forward. So here's some of the classes that we offer that you can teach. The Journey to Financial Success is an 8-part class. It can be done in 2 sessions. It involves everything from cash flow planning all the way into estate planning. We have a retirement planning class. We have a Medicare and Social Security class, college planning, planning for young adults, tax planning, and then of course the last one, how money works, which we have not put into a class format yet because we got put on hold, but we want to work with you guys on this and see what you think and what we can come up with there. Now, many of you have only seen the Journey to Financial Success. I haven't opened the door to all the rest of these yet because once we got put on hold with coronavirus, we didn't worry about it. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed with too many classes and feeling like you have to learn all this stuff right away. You don't. The first one really is the Journey to Financial Success. And the reason for that one is because it's going to be real important that we understand that a class like this is a general class. It really deals with most of the people you're going to have wanting help, most of the employees. The Journey class is the primary one you see, but what I'll do is we'll slowly but surely open these up to each of you. Here's what it depends on. It depends on kind of what you're qualified to teach. In other words, I have to be a little careful from a compliance standpoint. Not a compliance necessarily with Transamerica, but with the compliance with the Institute. We cannot have you teaching something that you're not licensed to teach. So the journey is an example of when you really should have a securities license to teach it, or what you can do is you can teach parts of it, but you shouldn't be teaching normally about securities if you don't have a securities license. So just, I mean, use common sense. We're trying to think this through. At the same time, I get the argument, well, yeah, but the journey to financial success has estate planning. I'm not an attorney. And I understand that you're teaching that from the financial planner's point of view, from the advisor's point of view. But I understand what you're saying. I just think what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody is competent to teach what they're teaching. And the way we decide how we do this with people and how we get people into different companies really has to do with two things. We're looking at those that already have their designation, that have already gotten into our registry. We're also looking at people who are making an effort to get into companies. If you're making an effort on your part to get into companies and you and your team are working at this, it's going to make a big difference to me in who we get into companies first and foremost, okay? Just something to keep in mind. Real quickly, I only have these on here to show you that this 24/7 service we have very dynamic tools. We have personalized courses that people can use. And I will take you all through this in the future. So in one of our future meetings, I'm going to take you through how this dashboard works and how we get people on there to take classes that you don't even have to teach. And still, if they want help, they're going to reach out to you for that help. Some of the topics on here have to do with budgeting and debt management and credit. The reason I put those on there is I know some things that I don't like to teach, and I'm guessing that you don't like to teach. I don't really care to teach budgeting, debt management, and credit. I want to teach about investment planning, insurance planning. I want to teach about retirement planning. So the reason we have this dashboard and we have this, this system that people can get interacting with is so you don't have to teach all these subjects. You can get into the company and you can teach, hopefully, the subject that you want to teach. So let's talk about first and foremost what I want each of you to think about working on. So if you said to me, okay, Alan, is it worth it being in this program? I'm going to say to you, when companies start to open back up, when companies allow us to get back inside or do webinars for financial education, you're going to wish you were first in line to do this, because now it's going to be an opportunity, like I said, that's going to be needed more than ever before. Believe me. Can you imagine the state of the financial situation for most people today? Boy, they need our help, guys. They need how money works more than ever before. So here's the personal business situation of option one, which is getting into companies yourself. So here's the thing you need to do. You need to pull your team together if you work with a team, and you need to look at what everybody's strength is. You need to list everybody you know, every person you know, and find out if any of them work for a company. So think about this for a second. Almost every person I know either did work for a company or does work for a company, and they know somebody inside that company that might know, or they may actually know themselves, the human resource person. So I'll give you an example. I was down at an independent hardware store the other day. Their doors are back open again. I was talking to them, and they said that their fear is they have 3 of their employees that they're having to lay off because they can't use them anymore. And guess what? They're all 60 or older. And I said, gosh, they're 60 years or older. I said, let me tell you what we do to help people like that. And this guy, the store owner, gave me the names of all 3 of them, and I was able to contact all 3 of them. 2 of them are going to do a financial retirement plan with me. Now, who would have thought of that, right? But because I think of people I know, I'm not even giving a class there, you guys. I'm just able to get in the door because I know somebody that works inside a company. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand the value of that. So first of all, sit down with your team, list everybody you know, list organizations you belong to, your churches, civic groups, the clubs, anything you belong to right now, and realize that's made up of people that you could teach for. Also, list the places you've been, schools, hospitals, charities. Again, think about what just happened to me with the hardware store. List all the clients that work for those companies, organizations, schools, hospitals. I know this is a little bit of work, but believe me, it's worth it, because if you work together with your team, and I don't know how many people on each of your teams, but if you can coordinate this, if you're not a standalone, if you are a standalone, you can still do it. But if you got somebody else with you, It makes it easier because you can think of more people, you can get creative. And you know what it's like when you get 2 or 3 people together working on something, you think of things you never would have thought of before. That's one of the strengths you guys have. And one of the reasons we came to WealthWave is because of the way you work together. List all the spouses and the work environments where they are. Some of the companies we've gotten into, it's because an employee of a company we were currently teaching for had a spouse that worked in a company that they opened the door to us. So think of your spouses right now, of the significant others, of your clients, of people you know, and start writing those people down and look at where they work as well. So first thing you do is make this list of everybody, okay? Once you make that list of everybody, you start looking at the companies, school systems, organizations, and you begin thinking through and finding out, are they open? Are they not open? Are they doing business yet? So what we've been doing here for the last 2 weeks is starting to get back on the phone and back on our computers and contacting companies that we'd worked with before and companies that we want to work with now and asking them if their doors are open. The other thing we've said is 2 things. Do you have employees that have been laid off? And secondly, do you have employees that are going to be coming back to work or that are working virtually that could use some help financially with financial education? With the people that have been laid off or that we know aren't going to come back, we've asked if they would like for us to reach out to help them with their 401ks, help them with their benefits, help them as far as taking care of their financial situation from a financial standpoint, a financial planning standpoint. I tell you what, I'm amazed at how many employers say, you can do that? You can help me with that? Because guess what? They feel terrible. They feel terrible they've had to lay people off. They have somebody that goes out and helps them. It's going to make a big difference. So I just signed a contract with a company in Dallas, just to let you know. This is a virtual relationship, so I may be reaching out to some of you in the Dallas area and in the extended area around there, and they're going to pay us $50 per employee for any employee that wants financial education. What we're going to do is the Institute will refer that person out to you. You'll get a private phone number, you'll contact them, and then you can work with that person and help them with their 401ks, with whatever they need, their life insurance, whatever needs they have. So we're doing that. So that's for companies that have people that have laid people off. In some cases, we might offer that service for nothing. Of course, you won't charge them. And if we charge them, it may be as little as $50 for that service. The value of that is it's the Institute that's setting up the contract. That contract protects the employer and it protects you. So remember something, anytime we work with a company or you work with a company, we have to have a contract with the Heartland Institute. That's to protect all of us so we don't get into trouble, so the company doesn't get into trouble. But remember, the other thing is the employees that are going to be coming back to work are working virtually. So I've been doing these virtual webinars. You guys are going to have access to these webinars. So you're able to set up the Journey to Financial Success and the other ones as webinars and do those, whether you do them on Zoom, you do them on whatever the system is, doesn't matter to me. You're able to do that. And guess what? You can start reaching out to companies so you don't have to wait. Second, I want you to determine who in your team is going to make contact with the people that you've listed. So somebody needs to contact people. They don't have to be a CFED. They don't have to be in the registry, but they got to start making these contacts. So in my office, I have 2 people that reach out to companies now on a regular basis. They're talking to their employers, they're talking to HR people, and they're saying, can we help with webinars? Can we help with an outreach? And then what we do is if you have a company like that, the Heartland Institute will do a contract with them, and then we'll open the door for you to start teaching those classes. Determine what you want to say and communicate. I even put this in writing for you. I mean, this is something that you have got to learn exactly what you're going to say, right? It's good to catch up with you. Hey, I wanted you to know I've been asked by a national nonprofit to teach financial wellness classes in companies. You might even say I've been certified by a national nonprofit, okay? I had to apply, get certified, earn a specific registered designation. It's exactly what I want to do. It's a way for me to give back. I'm talking to you because you work for ABC Company and I want to see if you know or can introduce me to your company's human resource director. It's completely non-solicitous and incredibly valuable for the company and the employees, boy, especially now during this time with coronavirus. I'm choosing only a handful of companies to teach and I wondered if you can help me or if I can help you. I think what I'm trying to do is get you guys to understand that right now is a tremendous time to get your act together on people you know that you can reach out to. So way number one to get into companies is you think of the company, you pull your team together, you start working on it. Consider making this a team effort in all phases from outreach to meeting with HR to teaching the classes to follow up. Now here's the great thing about this. We've done this many times and I have several people that have. So you guys are going to receive one-on-one guidance on how to do this, okay? So let's say that one of you has access to a company and you find out the company is interested in this. We will guide you through what to say, how to say it. We'll have a conversation with you. Me or one of my guys will, one of my people will. We'll also then reach out to the company for you after you talk to them, and we will set a contract, get a contract with them. This is an example of a script in our registered designation manual that you will receive if you don't already have it. There's scripts in there, but you know it's more valuable than anything is just talking it through. So we'll do that with you one-on-one, but you have to reach out to companies. Obviously, you have to be willing to do that. Make sense? Okay, so this is the workplace financial education in which you go out and you get the company and you bring us in. So let me repeat this again. If you guys, any of you are willing to do it, and you're willing to pull your team together and think of everybody you know and start writing down companies, organizations, school systems, any place you can think of people, you can reach out right now to human resource people and to leaders in those companies, and you can ask them if there's two ways that you might be able to help. One is employees that have been laid off that aren't coming back. They need help desperately right now. They need help with rolling their 401ks. They need help with figuring out what to do about their life insurance. Believe me, they need help. Secondly, you want to ask them if you can provide financial education for their employees, and you're happy to do it on a virtual webinar basis. It does not have to be done live. Perhaps you can get back to doing it in the future, but right now you can do this and you can use webinars to do it, okay? Once you do that and you get a company that's interested, now that company will make a contract with the Heartland Institute. Why do we have to have a relationship with the Institute? The Institute needs to protect the employer and protect you. What's that from? Well, the employer needs to be protected that somebody isn't coming in trying to sell their employees. Therefore, the Institute has an agreement with them, and it says that we will not solicit. And what that means is when you are teaching, we are not going to put them in a situation where we're going to offer any advice or do any selling during the class, whether it's the webinar or the live class. Instead, following a class, every employee fills out an application, excuse me, not an application, they fill out an evaluation. And the evaluation basically says, I want to have a one-on-one with my instructor. I want to meet with that instructor one-on-one, and I realize that's my decision to meet with the instructor. You as the instructor then can meet with them, and then you can talk to them about their personal financial situation, and it relieves them and you of any liability, okay? I have a question here, real quick question about can a person who's securities licensed and part of the Wealth Wave work with someone who is not? Or perhaps both of you are not completely licensed in everything. You can work together, but the only people that can teach our classes are going to be people that have our designation and in our registry. So what I would ask you to do, reach out to me personally on a question you might have. And then, does Heartland charge companies? We do charge companies for what we do, but it depends on what we're doing. Do we ever do a situation where we don't charge? Occasionally, but most of the time, we're going to charge the company something for what we're doing. And so the reason for that, just so you understand, is we're trying to protect them from a liability standpoint, but it's not reasonable to do it for free. So we're a nonprofit, but if they're not paying us something to provide that service, it doesn't make sense. It's like kind of like you guys not getting paid a fee or a commission if you do a product. It doesn't make sense. So yes, there is a charge. It can be minimal. It depends, and I'll tell you exactly how we do it. If you get a company that's interested in financial education, we call them up, we talk it through, we tell them normally how the process works. We find out what their budget's like. We make sure we're trying to fit within their budget. And then we'll charge them a fee based on what we're going to do. Then we bring you in as the expert, and you as the expert will teach the classes. If we get a company for you, then the contract says we can charge as much as $500 to you for that class. But we don't charge you that $500 for a class unless we really think we're bringing value to you. And if you get the company, there is no charge. That $500 is only if we bring you the company. So let's say that you go out and you get a company, it's ABC company, and you get them interested in doing financial education, and you set up a phone call for us with them, and we get you in there. We charge that company a fee for the classwork to be done. You come in as the instructor. You're not going to be charged anything for teaching that class. You also don't get paid for teaching the class. So it's a push in that regard. On the other hand, let's say that we get you a company, that I get ABC company, and I call you and I say, hey, would you come in and teach this company and be my instructor in this company? I can charge you as much as $500 per class, but the only way that's going to happen is if you're getting revenue out of that class, it's worth it, and it makes sense. Right now, we're doing a pilot project, so to speak, with WealthWave. It's kind of been put on hold a little bit. Now we're finally getting back. But the reason we're doing that is to make sure this is worth it for you and for us. Let me tell you, in the past, on average, from a company class, we have seen most of our people out there average over $10,000 in commissions and fees per class. So $500 is very reasonable. But if you went and you did a class and you get nothing out of it, I don't expect you to pay us anything. So we're going to work with you on that. Don't get too confused or concerned about it right now. We're just trying to make this work for everybody, so we're going to get it back together, if that makes sense. So basically what I want to do now is I want to talk about option 2, which is another option for you, which is besides us getting you into companies, it's how to teach CE classes to HR professionals. So hang on for a sec. I have a question here. What's the typical fee a company pays? Typical fee a company pays is somewhere in the range of an amount per employee per month. It might be as little as $1 or $2 per employee per month. It can be higher than that depending on what we're doing, or it might be a flat fee they pay. Again, guys and gals, it'll go back to their budget. And then there's a question, can other agents other than WealthWave get in to become a CFED? Yes, they can. We have over 4,000 people across the country that have earned the designation. But in the registry, we have a limited number in the registry, which is somewhere in the range of 300 right now. The registry is the group you're in, which is where we endorse you, and you are our elite instructors. If this works as well as I think it will with WealthWave, I'd like to do more and more and more with you guys, but it is not, it's not that we don't have other people in the country that are in the registry. It's just that I'd like for the majority of them to be right here with you. And then I get a quick question about military retirement classes. We don't offer military retirement classes now. If we have someone with expertise in that arena, we can. So we can teach classes for any group anywhere in the country, just so you know. It's just having 2 things to do that. One is the right materials to teach. Number 2 is the right people to teach the classes. And it's because we've got to have competence in the classroom. That's always going to be important. So back to my screen for a minute. The one in front of you talks about an option 2 for you guys, and that is to teach CE classes to HR professionals. Let me explain that. HR people, human resource people, need CE just like you guys do. So it's not just us, right? So consequently, what we can do is we are a preferred provider for SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Managers, and for the group that offers continuing education. There's two of them. There's Sherman, one other one, and both of them we're certified for. And so basically what we can do is we can teach CE classes to those human resource professionals. Now, understand not just anybody gets to do this. Not just anybody on the call gets to do this. You got to be qualified. We got to make sure that we're doing it right. So it's important that you understand that I will have to screen people to make sure we know who's teaching these classes. And what I like to do is I like to have one person in each basic location teaching the classes so that we don't run into trouble. If somebody screws up when they're working in CE and they upset SHRM or they do something wrong, they can kick us out, they can put us on hold, they can make us lose our status. I can't afford to do that. So let me go through the process, but let me answer a couple quick questions first. How do we access the Medicare and Social Security classes? You need to contact me directly, and I'll talk about that with you. And then another one I get on here is the military is tough. It is tough. There is a lot of red tape. So, you know, again, if anybody has a particular group they want to get into, you have to let me know what access you have and how we can do it. And then I have no problem dealing with any group there is, okay? So just so you know. Back to the CE class just for a minute. There are many ways you can go about getting human resource personnel. There are groups you can buy, there are lists you can buy. Basically, what you have to do is you have to decide how you're going to reach out and contact these people. When you're dealing with human resource people, they need CE classes. They also know very little about financial education. So what you need to do is you need to teach a CE class to these people, and you can do this with a webinar. We have a 1-hour webinar that works really well. It's already done. For you, those of you that end up getting qualified to teach CE classes, I'll do a special training for you. It's not scheduled just yet because we got to find out who's going to be doing that, okay? But the CE class that you can teach, you can also teach an on-site class. We used to do this with lunch. We don't do that anymore because, or at least we're not right now, obviously because of the coronavirus. But you can do a 1-hour webinar. You can actually do a longer webinar. We're qualified for those, and you can do that as well. So we have this webinar already done. It's up to date. It's very professional. It talks about why people would want to do financial education for their employees. It's very powerful, and so you'll be able to do that. The idea is you also, when you're doing the webinar, you can talk to all these CE people about, or excuse me, the HR people, about how you can offer a grant class. That is, you can do a brown bag presentation for them, for their employees, whether that's a webinar or in person, and you don't charge for that, okay? And the brown bag presentation, I'll talk to anybody that wants to about it, but what I'll be doing is we'll be doing a brown bag for you in one of our monthly webinars. We'll actually do the brown bag and make it available to you. And then that will help you a little bit, okay? Let's see. I have a question here about, the other organization besides SHRM is HRCE. HRCE is what they're called, okay? Have the slides and handouts changed since January? No, the slides and the handouts are the same as they were in January. So we update them at least once a year. They're updated right now for 2020, okay? Does the CFE have a yearly CE requirement? It does. You have 2 hours that you will get from us, 2 hours that we will give you that you have to do, so it's pretty easy. That's not going to be a problem for you, okay? Moving on to teaching the CE classes. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your organization, think about who you work with, and think about the group you're part of. The person that I allowed to teach the CE class normally has to be securities licensed and insurance licensed. It helps if you're Series 65, but it's not required. Again, it's not required. But I want someone that has sufficient experience in the business and has made presentations before, has been in front of a group of people, and I know that most of you, if not all of you are. What I'm looking for here is someone who can teach that CE class and others can benefit from it in that group. So in other words, if you're working together as a team, and you're the one giving the CE class, it may be that there are other people that are going to benefit besides you, other producers, but the whole idea is to open this up, get it rolling, because if you do a CE class properly, here's how you do it. You get a list of HR professionals in your area. You reach out to them, and this is already done for you. We have all the pieces to send out. We have all the materials to send out, and you invite them to a CE class. You charge something for the CE class. It's not a lot, but you will always get greater participation if you charge. The payment for that goes to the institute. You do not get paid as an instructor. However, all of the people that come and take the CE class will become and can become your client. Since you did the CE class and you're getting the companies, you will not be charged at any time for teaching inside those companies. These are your companies. So if you give a CE class, I'll give you all the material. I'll take you through how to do it. We'll do a one-on-one together, and we'll make sure that your team is ready, because of what is really cool is when you work on a team doing this together. And then all these companies belong to you guys. You just have to follow up with them, get into them. We do a contract with them, and now it's your company. So kind of cool, huh? Yeah, I think so anyway. And so basically what that leads to, it leads to the opportunity for you to go in and teach a brown bag class for them. And you can call that a grant class. And what that does is that brown bag, once you get in that company, whether you do it via webinar or in person, you're going to really get the people in that group interested in you giving them the full class, the full-blown class. So basically, you're going to meet with the HR person after you do the CE class. You're going to explain the Employment Retirement Income Security Act, which, by the way, they're already going to have seen in your CE class. They're going to know why they need to be offering financial education. You're going to show them it's recommended by the Act. You're going to talk about the Government Accounting Office and the Dodd-Frank Act. Believe me, there's so much material here. There's so much material that you guys are going to be amazed at how little these HR people understand about why they should be offering financial education. And I will tell you that there's not a bad market out there. I have a question about, unions and government's a good market. Unions are great markets. I've been in the government, I've been in unions, I've been in state governments, federal government, been in all the different groups you can think of out there. And here's what the key is. Wherever you have people, wherever people are, those people are in need of help, and they realize they're in need of help. And when you can come to them as a nonprofit and offer financial education, it makes a huge difference, okay? In that CE class, by the way, we usually charge somewhere in the range of, anywhere from maybe $19 to $39, depending on if it's a 1 hour or a 3 hour. So the cost is not high. The average cost for CE out there today for HR people, I understand, is somewhere in the range of $65 to $85 an hour. We don't charge nearly that much, but we still charge them something, obviously, to get in. So what I'm giving you here is just the terminology you can use when you talk to the HR professional. And what I'm trying to do is make sure you understand this is already laid out. You want to always explain the bottom line value for the employer. You want to let them know that it's going to improve their overall worker satisfaction. And I want you to know that I have materials for you already designed that cover all this. It not only covers what you say, but it shows where the statistics come from. It shows the sources. We have sources that show what it costs an employer to not offer financial education. We have a source that shows what the average group out there that does offer financial education charges. We have statistics on what's happening to employees right now when they don't have financial education. And I got to tell you something, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Also, the lower cost for sickness, poor use of time. But one of the big deals when you offer financial education is the way employees feel about this. So again, when you think about it, if you guys start pulling all your stuff together, don't wait on us to get a company for you, because I'm going through the same thing you're going through right now. Organizations that were set and ready to go, a lot of them backed off, and we had big national firms, and so they're taking more time right now than some of the smaller organizations are to get their people back on track and moving forward. Third, you want to always make sure that you're explaining how financial education lowers liability. Let me tell you what's coming right now, and this is something that you need to know. There are a lot of lawsuits right now that are being impacted because of 401ks being properly managed. The new lawsuits that are starting to get more serious are employees realizing they're not well taken care of, they're not educated, they're coming back and suing their employer for not providing financial education and for not properly managing the 401k. So things are impacting us, and guess what? When people are down, when they're hurting financially, they look for somebody to blame. So we're going to see more and more of this happen. I have a question here. Are there any restrictions state by state for providing training? No, there are no restrictions as long as the training is offered by a nonprofit. The training is seen as education and not advice. So what's really important is this. Any of you on the phone today and any of you that want to talk to me one-on-one, understand that you cannot go out and represent Transamerica or WealthWave as the company you're using when you get into companies to teach. When you go into a company to teach, when you go into an organization, you have to go in representing a nonprofit. You have to be a registry member with us. You have to be listed with us. You have to be paying your dues. You have to have your certified financial educator designation. And then guess what? You can go anywhere and teach, anywhere in the United States, any of the states, as long as you're an educator. This is a huge benefit for us and for you. So don't forget that you can't be two things at the same time. You can't be a financial educator and you cannot be a financial advisor at the same time. I know that sounds silly, but here is the FINRA rule. The FINRA rule is that when you teach, you are teaching and educating, and when you advise, you are offering advice and support. You cannot do both at the same time. So when you guys go in and you teach classes, you have to carry a Heartland card. It has to identify you as a registry member that's a certified financial educator. It has to make sure that it doesn't say anything on there about any other company. When you are teaching, you're with the Heartland Institute. When you are advising, you're with Transamerica. So when the person comes out of the class, whether it's a virtual class or a live class, and they meet with you face-to-face or virtually, you are allowed then to start talking about what you do for your clients as a financial advisor, but you need to make a transition. And you need to say, as you know, I'm a financial instructor, educator for the Heartland Institute. I also work as an advisor. And what I want to do is I want to talk to you about what I do for my clients. So you make a transition from being an educator to being an advisor. And this is more that we'll give you as we go along. Most of you already know, I think, that it costs $1,295 for you guys to get the designation. Your registry fee is $500 a year. And then you've got the cost. If we bring a company to you, we may charge as much as $500 a class, but I've already said that depends on the class, okay? What's really important here is there are a lot of you on this call, and I understand that, and there are a lot of people that have been put on hold. What I want to make sure you understand is that we're here to help you. We're going to do these webinars every month. We're going to do special webinars in between for training when you're giving a CE class, if you're doing that. But I'll also work with any of you and have my team work with you one-on-one. Reach out to me, and we'd be glad to do that to help you. What's important is that we're doing this and we're doing it right, and you're getting back on track. But I want to repeat something to you. The most important thing you can do right now is sit down to your teams and start pulling together everybody you know, companies, school systems, anybody you can think of, because this will not do any good if you're not prepared. And what you're going to want to do second is start getting into the material and learning it, studying it, knowing what to say, and then I'll have conversations with you about what you're saying and doing when it comes to people. Anyway, finally, you're going to be using the nonprofit to provide the financial education. You want to be sure that, guys and gals, all of you understand you have to work through us. You cannot do a deal with a company on the side. You'll get yourself in trouble. You'll become liable. What will happen is you'll be seen as a financial advisor trying to teach financial education, mixing the two. You have to be under the auspices of the nonprofit in order to teach. and keep those two separate. This is very important. Any of you that have not read the fiduciary rules, realize you have to be operating as an educator in this case, not as a fiduciary. There's a difference, okay? You may be a fiduciary, you may be a registered investment advisor, that's great, but you're not giving advice when you teach. Very, very critical, you remember that. So I just want to say a couple things to you, and that is that the biggest single reason that most people fail in our program is they just don't get in front of enough companies. I know that you guys are out there sitting there waiting for me to bring companies to you, and believe me, that was our original intent. And then the coronavirus hit, and I called Tom, and I was talking to Tom and Kim, and I said, you know what? I just realized something. I'm having everybody wait on us to bring companies to them, and yet I'm making the biggest mistake I could possibly make because I've got probably the best marketing organization in the country, and that is WealthWave. You guys know how to market. You know how to go out there. You know how to get this done. You have people that already work in companies. You have people that have probably been released from companies recently. You have the opportunity to open doors. And if you will open that door, I'll teach you not only how to do it, I'll teach you what to do after you do it, how to get in, how to teach the class. And me and my folks will do that with you and for you, okay? So I think it's very important that you understand that once you get into a company, we're going to be willing to design classes with you, change them up a little bit, make the class longer or shorter. We can do lunch and learns. We can do classes that are 2-session, 3-session classes if you want. We can take how many works and make it into a class. So how long it takes to do a class, give a class, that's going to depend on what you and what the employer and the HR person want to do. So I had an HR person come to me, and I'd been doing classes inside, and she said to me, do you have the ability to offer classes that we could do just webinar classes, and yet our people can have a one-on-one with you and we'll pay you for the one-on-one? And I said, gosh, yeah, we could do that as long as the payment goes to the Heartland Institute. So as long as you as the instructor are not getting paid, we don't then run into a problem that way, but you still get the client, you still get the commissions, you still get the fees, because we don't share any of that with you guys. We're not asking you to give us any of your assets under management or any of your commission you do on an insurance product. We don't share any of that. So this works really well in that regard. And so as far as I'm concerned, we can make this work and we can fit your company the way you want to. Let's work together. Let's get on the ball. Let's start looking up everybody we know. I had a question, can you invite prospects to this webinar? The only thing I would say is prospects, if you're talking about people that are thinking of coming into the business, absolutely. If you're thinking about people that might be a client through a company, I'm not sure I would, because we're going to be talking about sales and systems and the ways we're going to be doing that. I don't know if you're comfortable with that. There isn't anything I'm going to say that is not true or that we need to hide. So I guess you'd use your own discretion. And another question, are client classes available in Spanish? I've had a couple of people redesign the class and put it into Spanish, but no, I don't have one that's available for everyone. If anybody's interested in teaching a class in any other language, we'll allow you to do that. But we would need your help with the materials, because I do not have experts in my office that speak different languages that can do that. So I need to get your help on making that happen, okay? Just so you know. So basically, just back to this slide for a minute. People don't get in front of companies. They don't learn what they need to say. Clearly, they just don't do the job. They're hoping that, you know, somehow it's going to be done for them. It's not going to be done for them, okay? There's one other thing I want to talk about, because I'm at the end of my time. Heartland also has a college coaching program. If any of you are interested in this, this is turning into something bigger than I ever thought. We actually have a team of coaches. I'm not talking about athletic coaches. I'm talking about college coaches that work with high school kids, and they help those kids get ready for college. They help prepare them. They help them choose the right college, choose the right degree. We help them get money for college. In the last 6 years, We have helped students raise over $100 million. That's right, $100 million in scholarships and grants. And a lot of those have been people that have come from Transamerica. And it's because we go and we work a lot with the agents and the advisors of Transamerica. And that's how we meet a lot of our students. You get paid for doing it. So when the student comes on board, you get paid for doing it. I have two webinars, one the 10th of June and one the 22nd of June. They're on here for a reason. If you're interested, write this down. You'll be receiving a notice on this as well, probably tomorrow, along with a copy of this webinar. You're going to get it tomorrow sent to you as well. But boy, guys, if you want to have another way to bring revenue in and get into a family, help their kids with education, but also at the same time get access to the family and be able to help with their life insurance needs, their investment needs, this is a big deal, okay? I have a question, what material brochures you can use. You have to have completed your exam and be in the registry to get access to our materials. There's a particular spot on our website you can get on. Once you are in the registry, you can't use that material until then. So once you've done that, you have access to material. And I think what we're going to start doing as we move forward in these webinars is get more specific. But here's what I'd like for you guys to do right now. I'd like for you to start working with your teams on thinking of who you know, what companies you might be able to get access to, what organizations. I'd like for you to think of the questions you have for me and shoot me an email, and I'll have, again, Annie include my email on this information you get tomorrow. We'll try to direct you, give you some guidance so we can start one-on-one giving you a little bit more help in the direction we're going, what we're doing, okay? I have a couple other questions, and let's see. One is college students loans refi. We do have an organization that we do that with, so we can help you with who that is if we need to. Since we're the educator, when we enter into a company, is there a special way we transfer to letting participants know we're licensed? Yes. When you first teach a class, you're going to let people know that you are a financial advisor, but when you teach, you're a financial educator. So they'll know you're qualified before you ever start teaching the class. You're going to let them know that, but you don't let them know who you work for. You don't let them know it's Transamerica or WealthWave. You wait until you meet with them to tell them that, but they can know you're a financial advisor. If you're a CFP or you have any designations, you can let them know that, okay? And it says, can advisors add the Heartland designation to their business cards? You can. That has been approved by Transamerica. You can put the CFED on your business card. So you can do that, okay? So, oh my gosh, I'm at the end of my time. I know this went fast. I know we're trying to catch up from where we were, but you all have the ability to reach out to me. You'll get this information tomorrow. Start doing your homework, start getting with your teams. Those of you that think you should be qualified to offer CE class, remember, I'm only gonna allow a limited number in each area because we can't overdo it, and you have to be willing to share your value with other people. So you might contact Tom or Kim to find out about who can become a provider of CE, but you're going to have to learn that material. Again, we provide everything. So any other questions anybody has? I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes. You can, let's see if I can unmute you now. I never know what in the world I can do. Okay, I'm going to get on participants. And I'm going to let you.
Mine need to talk about Susu and Continental and Box and stuff like that. But it's the same idea that with those things, you have to wait. And sometimes the wait.
So I muted you. You may be able to unmute yourself. But if not, I want you guys just to reach out to me. Shoot me a question that you might have. And I'll try to answer that question. You will get my email tomorrow. Okay? So. Any other written questions? It looks like, what's the cost for the college coaching program? I want you to get on the webinar to watch those, and they'll let you know there's a couple different ways. College coaching can be bought over a period of several years, or it can be bought in units. So people can sign up for what they want, And then you get paid on every one of them that sign up to come on. And what I want you on that webinar for is I want you to understand the value of this. We're one of the lowest cost college planning programs in the country, and one of the only ones that is a 501c3 by a nonprofit. We have averaged anywhere from 20 to 70 new students in a month. And I told you we've raised over $100 million in scholarships and grants. So it's really an incredible program, okay? So just know, all right? So I'm ready to sign off. I want to thank everybody. Remember, you can reach out to me, and you'll get more of this information coming to you tomorrow. Thank you, all of you, for your time. Let's make this work. Start getting to work on who you know, guys and gals. I'll look forward to talking to you later. Take care.